Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Californian Adventure. I wanted to begin by apologizing because I had posted some Guns N' Roses videos that I referred to in this review, and YouTube has removed them. I think it's silly that they do that. I think if it's someone from the GNR camp, I think it's not smart. I mean, to me, this is good advertising. Watching videos of them live is what made me want to see them live. So, especially if the videos are used to promote them, it's not like I'm selling bootleg copies of the any videos that I took from the concert or anything like that. So, yeah, I wanted to apologize that those videos that I refer to are in fact not in my video playlist anymore since YouTube decided to remove them. So, thank you, and I hope you enjoy the review. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the Californian Adventure, and I'm coming at you with my second concert review. Today, we're going to be doing the Guns N' Roses Citi Sound Vault review. Their concert was held on September 21st, 2019 at the Palladium in Hollywood, California. Now, once again, I want to begin by, again, saying that when I go to these shows, how grateful I am just to be there. I've said before, I'm not a rich guy. I'm not a wealthy guy. I'm actually struggling at the moment with, I just had surgery recently for some hernias and workman's comp issues. And so, like I said, I'm just grateful to have been there. All right, now this was a really special show, and it was announced on short notice. Oh God, I think there was about 5 or 6 day notice. I think about 5 day notice before the tickets actually went on sale. And so, 5 day notice before the tickets went on sale, and the show was the day after the tickets went on sale. So from the time the public became aware of this show, it was, I believe, Monday morning, and the show happened Saturday night. So the tickets were accessible only if you had a Citi card or if you were a night train member. Um, a lot of people had issues with the codes they got from Citi Card and Night Train, and that's a whole nother thing in itself. But actually, most of the people that were trying to get tickets when they went on sale that morning, even if they didn't have a code and they were on the wait list, almost everybody got to get the ticket that they wanted. You know, if you waited about like 2-3 hours after the pre-sale started, pretty much by then all the general admission tickets were sold out. Now, face value for the tickets was $200 for GA, and that's after fees. I think it was like $175 basically if you got it online. After fees, that bumped it up to $200 even. And there were two different options for early entry, and one was $400 plus fees, and one was $500 plus fees. Now, I really wish I would have gotten the early entry and sold one regular ticket. I did get two tickets, general admission, regular. I ended up selling one online, and I just made $80 profit. I was just trying to cover some of my gas money, just getting to the venue and stuff. Like I said, right now I've been having a lot of different issues, so I just wanted to make enough money, to get by. But I did see online that some were priced very high. And actually, I checked about an hour before the show started, and there were only like 7 tickets left online. And so a lot of the higher priced ones probably sold, I mean, this was a hot show to be at. And a lot of people wanted to be there, and if you missed out, when the tickets went on sale, you had to end up just ponying up the money. All right, as far as myself, I woke up. I live in the Central Valley in California, right in between everything. For me, it's 3.5 hours or so to get to the Bay Area. It's about 3.5 hours, 4 hours to get to LA, depending on traffic. And that goes for either way. I mean, it's California. Traffic could be hell no matter what part of the state you're in. So, I woke up at 2 in the morning. I left at 3. I got to the venue at about 7. And there were some friends that I'd known from previous Guns N' Roses concerts and Slash concerts that were out there from the night before. Fans in line are always awesome, especially the ones that you see repeatedly at these shows. We've become like our own little group of friends, and so it's always pretty awesome. It's always nice to see the same faces, at some of the shows. And some people, we got friends that fly in from New York. I know there was one gentleman that I'd met for the first time that flew in from Maine, a real nice guy, and him and his girlfriend. So, you meet some really cool people and become friends with a lot of really cool people. And the Palladium itself, it actually was in a really cool location. A lot of times you go to these venues, especially if you're doing general admission and staying the night, out front or being there basically all day, and there's not like a lot around. There's nowhere to go to the bathroom. There's nowhere to get something to eat and drink. And the Palladium is in an awesome spot. I mean, there's basically a Rite Aid right across the street. There's a shopping center with different restaurants. There's a Denny's. There's a pizza joint. There's different places to have a few drinks. And what was actually really cool is that there was actually a porta potty provided by the venue, by the Palladium, for everybody in line, which is cool and I think smart. A lot of times it's like these venues, they don't want to clean up after people, but then they don't provide any trash cans. It's that type of thing. It's like, well, it just makes it even better. If you have the facilities right on hand, you have the porta potty right on hand, people have somewhere to go and be orderly and use the restroom. And same thing with the trash. They provide a lot of trash cans, so there's no trash on the floor. People walk over and use a trash can. So to me, it's just common sense. That was really cool of a venue to do that. A lot of times I've done these all-day waits, and it's that same issue where there's just nowhere to go to the bathroom. And so that's a little luxury that you take for granted. Getting in the venue, early entry got to go in first, which is obvious. I didn't know there would be so many early entry passes sold, especially having surgery recently. I was really hoping to get a spot on the rail, not only to get some good footage, but it's nice for me to have something to lean on right now. I've been having some minor complications that I'm overcoming. I'm confident that I'll be 100% soon. But I was still in a lot of pain standing in the crowd. And so early entry got to go in first, and it seemed like they were a little slow getting them in. And as soon as there was supposed to be a 30-minute gap between the time early entry went and the time everybody else went, but they started letting early entry in later than they wanted to. So basically, the second early entry got in, the ADA line got to go in. And as I mentioned, my surgeries, they actually let me go into the ADA line, even though I was there at the crack of dawn and part of the front of the GA line. They said, hey, you're welcome to do the ADA line because I'm still recovering from the surgery. So I was able to do the ADA line, and I just went straight to the stage. I just was trying to get a spot. As far as the inside of the Palladium itself, the venue itself, there was some nice merch available around at different booths, and they had some really nice t-shirts, a couple different things. And I got really lucky. Next to the main floor inside the Palladium, we were in there, relatively fast. And there was a merch booth that was still setting up, and they were turning people away because they weren't set up yet. So I was able to go over there and ask, hey, you mind if I just wait, and that way I could hurry up and buy my merch and get back to my spot. And they said, they don't mind. So I lined up, and I was able to get a couple of the concert posters. I think it was limited to 200. Really awesome posters. And so I was able to snag a couple of those, and that's all I got. I didn't have, I was using my credit card just to buy those, and I'm trying to kind of keep my balances low, Debt could be a mother, so I'm just trying to avoid the debt. As far as the stage, I was actually surprised. For a smaller venue, the stage was really wide. I thought the stage would be, even smaller. So the stage was actually pretty good sized, and so the front did accommodate a lot of people against the rail. There was a bar on the side of the stage, if you wanted to go over and get some water even, or a drink. There was a bar right next to the stage. But, if you've been to some of these Guns N' Roses concerts before, any concert where you're standing up at the front against the rail, you don't want to leave, and lose your spot. The last thing you want to do is be drinking a bunch, because there's nothing worse than trying to enjoy one of the greatest concerts you'll ever see while you have to take a piss really bad. So usually if I do have a drink or two, I'll actually drink really early in the day and stop by like 2 o'clock in the day. And so that way, by the time I go into the venue at like 7 or whatever, by the time they let you into your seat, usually, that's out of me, and I'm not going to be wanting to rush over to the bathroom. As far as the show itself, the show was scheduled to start at 9. And for whatever reason, and I don't want to speculate, a lot of people tried saying, oh, they're waiting on Axl. Who knows? We have no idea what was going on. For whatever reason, they didn't come on until like, God, it must have been like 10:30, 10:45. I think it was closer to 10:30. But either way, I think that also them coming on late ended up impacting their set list. I think they cut out about 5 or so songs from what I saw. Cut out basically out of the regular set from what I've seen on images posted of the set list that night. They cut out yesterday's I Used to Love Her and Black Hole Sun out of the regular main part of the set. And out of the encore, they cut out Don't Cry and The Seeker. And yeah, it would have been cool to, see everything. The crappy part too is just by the time, for me especially, or anybody that was dealing with any type of injury or disability, anything like that, is that they let us in, and especially us, we'd been out there all day standing since the crack of dawn or who knows what. And then you get in, and then the show's supposed to start at 9. We got in at basically 7:45, 8 o'clock or so. And you're standing there. By the time the show came on, you're already standing there hours. By the time it ended, you've basically been standing there like 5 hours or whatever, because the show ended at, well, it was 1:45 in the morning, 1:30 in the morning, somewhere right in that ballpark. And so by the time the show ended, there were a lot of people that were in pain. But, hey, I would have stayed and stood there for another hour if they kept jamming on, I'll tell you that much. But overall, the set list was essentially the same exact one that they've been using for the Not in This Lifetime tour. I know there were some people that were hoping for more, and I have seen complaints online. And, yeah, it's always nice if we would have been hit with something new, but I'm just happy to see Guns N' Roses any chance I get. I know after the show, my buddy Alex, he's a major Guns N' Roses fan. Shout out to Alex. Pointed out that on the alternative set list, on the alt set list, that Hard School was on there. And that would have been cool to see live. I remember reading some rumors the other day that they had been rehearsing it. And so it would have been cool if they pulled that out of the bag. But other than that, it was the standard set list. They've been belting out all their core hits for this whole Not in This Lifetime tour. So there's not much they could change. They play a lot of shows. They play almost all their hits every single time. So, you're going to get the same set list until we get new material. As far as the performance itself, I thought Axl sounded awesome. This was the closest I've ever seen Axl, up front. I've been front row at every Guns N' Roses show I've been to. I've been lucky enough to be right on the rail. And this one, I wasn't right on the rail. I was basically the second person, or the person behind the person on the rail. And it was still, with how close we were to the stage, it wasn't like where they're playing the giant stadiums and you got a 15-foot gap or a 10-foot gap between the rail and the stage. Here at the Palladium, it was only 5 feet, And so it was cool to see Axl really, sing up close and do his thing up close. And I thought Axl sounded awesome. There's a lot of people that try to say he doesn't sound the same or whatever. Hey, nobody in the business singing at the level or singing the difficult material that Axl Rose has to sing. It's like same with Brian Johnson, These guys aren't going to sound the same 30 years down the road. But having said that, I think Axl sounds amazing. I think right now he's at the top of his game. I think he's kicking butt, and I would go and gladly pay to see him do it again. And there are a lot of critics out there, but that's like with everything, If you don't like it, I totally understand. move on. As far as I'm concerned, though, I'll pay to see it again, and Axl has still got it. And as a side note, Axl did come out and sign autographs for the fans that were still waiting outside the venue. But that was like 2 hours after the show ended. So basically, if you were still out there waiting at 3:30 in the morning, Axl came out. And as I said, the show ended at 1:30, so it's not that outlandish of a time. I mean, that's pretty much standard 2 hours after the show ending. But I thought that was really cool of Axl to come out and do that. He signed autographs for everybody out there, multiple autographs for some people. And so that was really cool of him. I know a lot of people try to say Axl's a jerk or whatever. And you know what? I think a lot of people judge Axl on the image they have in their head of Axl back in 92 or 93, where he was doing some erratic things. He did want things done his way. He would come on late every single night. And you know what? The last few years since this, even before the Not in a Lifetime tour, I don't think he's had many issues at all. I know during the Not in a Lifetime tour, I mean, they would come on early a lot of the nights. And Axl was nothing but a professional. He would often come out and sign autographs for fans outside a hotel, outside of his bus, different stuff like that. And then going straight from that to AC/DC and then back to Guns N' Roses. I mean, during that time period, whether or not you liked him in any of the bands, no matter what you think of him, he was the hardest working dude in rock and roll, the hardest working frontman in rock and roll, at least. I've said the same thing with Slash, where he goes from Guns N' Roses to, his side projects with Miles Kennedy, takes a week off, jumps back into, another tour of Guns N' Roses, takes a week off after that's all said and done, and then gets back in the studio. I mean, these guys are professionals, and they have a drive like no one, like you couldn't believe, like no one else. And so I thought that was really cool of Axl, and I really wish a lot of people would, judge Axl for the dude he is today rather than, that same dude he was back then. Lord knows I'd probably act like an idiot if I were young and had a lot of money. I'd probably act like an idiot today if I got a lot of money, all of a sudden. So, either way, Axl's a changed man, I really believe, and he's nothing but professional now. As for my moment of the night, I have two songs for this show that I'm going to call my moment of the night. They kind of tied for my moment. So I guess in this review, I'll call it the moments of the night for this review's purposes. And the first one is Rocket Queen. Every time they do Rocket Queen, it's always a fan favorite. But when I see Slash do Richard Fortus, it's always something special. They both do a little improv part. Richard just, shredding on the guitar, and Slash using the talk box, the classic little womp, 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 and talking away. And they both just do something different every time, It's always improv. It's always different. And I love lately, especially, the way the song kind of has had a really funky beat to it. And it goes from like this funky beat to the actual rock song that you traditionally know, and it jumps back into the funky beat and goes back to the rock song, and it does that a few times throughout this improv version of Rocket Queen. And every time I hear it, it's just outstanding. Every time I see it live, it blows me away. I can't speak highly enough about Richard Fortus and his guitar work. I'm not gonna get into the whole argument about Izzy and what guitarist is best or whatnot and who's best for the band. All I know is Richard Fortus is a world-class musician. He does a hell of a job. He has this communication with Slash when they play, and especially during Wish You Were Here and different songs. During Knocking on Heaven's Door, you could see him bouncing this improv, solos back and forth. And it's just amazing to watch him, And I know I've seen interviews with Richard, and he calls it a conversation. And he says how fortunate he is to be able to have that conversation with Slash. I consider myself fortunate to be able to watch the conversation go down, because every time it's like poetry, in motion. It's amazing. And if you wanted to see that, or if you haven't seen that, I posted a video of Rocket Queen, so you could feel free to check in the videos under my profile and check that out. While you're there, be sure to subscribe to my channel. But yeah, so if you haven't seen that, you could hop in my videos and check that out. I posted that previous. Now, my second moment that ties for the moment of the night with Rocket Queen is Slash's solo going into Sweet Child of Mine. For years, he's been doing Godfather solo, and I love seeing that solo every time. And it's like many of his other solos where it's improv, and so it's different every time. There's no two shows that are the exact same, and it's just it's like watching a master painter paint. I mean, Slash is at that level, and when you get to watch him up close play those solos, it's just amazing. But tonight he did kind of it was like a blues solo, and it just blew me away. It was a change of pace, and just to hear Slash play some blues, man, I'm a fan of the blues also, and so to see Slash play the blues, and I feel like it's like modern blues. It's like kind of our generation, and I don't know. You got to watch the video. I posted the video already. If you haven't seen it, hop in my videos and check it out. But that was definitely my second most favorite moment of the night, or tied for my favorite moment with Rocket Queen. As I just loved hearing Slash play the blues, and he did it masterfully. Now, when you see Slash play that type of stuff, I mean, it just further demonstrates why he's considered one of the best and most versatile guitarists in the business. I absolutely loved it. And my only complaints for the show itself, outside of the late start time, were there was a few fans that were around that were inconsiderate. I felt that there were the people that did get there and get on the rail. A lot of them like held their arms wide and were like, "This whole space is mine," And so like there could have been room for more fans on the rail. I was next to some people that I know. There was a girl in front of me that I know that's a friend, and she was saving a rail spot for her friend. That didn't work out, and I had the spot behind her, but her friend that didn't get the rail spot, I guess, felt that since she lost her spot, it entitled her to bump me out of my spot. And so she was just like trying to bump on me the whole show and like make it uncomfortable for me. And I tried like telling her, hey, look, like I'm understanding of you. Let's be understanding of each other, like I could squeeze in a little and not be like with my arms all wide, which is exactly what I did. I kind of smooshed myself, but she's like got enough room to be turning around, dancing and different stuff like that, and it's like, hey, well, I understand your situation, but understand my situation too. Just, let's be considerate of each other, and there's room for both of us here. But she wasn't like that. She just wanted this huge space for herself, and that's just how it was. The kicker was I hear her talking to her friends and our mutual friends about like how some people are so inconsiderate, referring over to me. And it's like, I felt like telling her, what universe do you come from where you lose your rail spot and think that entitles you to take anybody else's spot? I don't care where they are. That's your issue. If I wanted to be a jerk about it, I would have just been like, hey, well, that's none of my business. Tough luck, But either way, and then I was next to some other dude on my right side that kind of did that, and he ended up actually forcing himself onto the rail, even though like the people that were like, hey, bro, when the show starts, don't push up on us, don't force yourself. 20 seconds after the show started, he just like forced his way in right on this chick, and how her boyfriend didn't beat this guy up after the show. I really don't know, because if that would have been my girlfriend, I would have been pissed, and I would have told him that, after the show, we've got to have a conversation or something, because what he was doing was just wrong and selfish. And other than that, I mean, those are the things of the show that kind of made it suck, the late start and the people that I was around. But I mean, I still had a hell of a show. I didn't let them ruin the show for me, that's for sure. And my ultimate judge of any show that I go to is whether I would go again. You pay a lot. I pay a lot of money. Everybody nowadays, any show you go to costs you a lot of money. And my ultimate judge is, hey, would I have done that again? What would I have done differently if I could do that again? Would I jump on the grenade and buy those tickets? And you know what? I would do it again. I would gladly do it again. The only difference is I would make sure I had an early entry ticket, so I could avoid some of those unruly fans and make sure I had a good spot on the rail. So yeah, I think the show is amazing. I think Guns N' Roses is still amazing. I think they've still got the magic. If you haven't seen them yet, I highly recommend you get out there and see them if you get a chance. You don't have to be in the GA pit. You don't have to be right up front. Just seeing them perform, they're world-class musicians. Seeing them perform is just a treat, especially if you're a fan. And so if you get a chance, don't miss it. I will be also trying to do another review of the forum show that they had a couple years ago. I think it was in December of 2017. And that was a really special show. And I've got some good footage and videos of and pictures of that show as well that I could put together. And I wanted to do a review of that just because, like I said, it was a special show. And if I'm not mistaken, it was the longest show Guns N' Roses has ever done at 4 hours, basically. I think they played for 4 hours straight, and they pretty much pulled all the tricks out of their hat. And no pun intended for Slash, but they pulled all the tricks out of the hat. And it put on a hell of a show. So I'll probably be coming back with another review of that here in the coming, maybe month or two. So thank you all for watching. I hope you like and subscribe. I'm trying to build this channel up to be something special. I'm going to start trying to have food reviews, travel reviews, anything that I do that I think someone else could get some information off of, make it better for them if they go and try to do that same thing, or if they just want to hear about the experience. Like I said, that's what this channel is all about. So thank you for watching. Be sure you subscribe. And I hope you join me on my next adventure.